The exaggerated, sinister grin and sharp eyes work well with the character's chaotic personality, but the head could benefit from slight adjustments to the symmetry. The left side, from the viewer's perspective, seems a little flatter compared to the right. Subtle refinement could make the head more spherical and balanced.
Holy shit!
Why, hello there, and welcome.
So, here is a story for you. If you ever found yourself struggling with your artwork, thinking, man, I wished I had someone to critique this, well, guess what? You don't always need a mentor or a fellow artist to give you feedback. That's where ChatGPT comes in. Yeah, you heard me right. AI now can help critique your art. For example, I am currently working on this lunatic jack-o'-lantern drawing, which is intended to be part of the Halloween course I am working on. Hopefully by no later than October 24th it will be out, so you have enough time to draw your own awesome jack-o'-lantern for this Halloween. I'm doing my best here. But anyway, when I was at the sketching stage, I felt things were off proportion-wise, so I hit aim in Krita to activate the mirrored mode and checked from the opposite side. It's a trick that lets you catch fundamental issues in your drawings early on, and some hate it for this reason, such as proportions, symmetry, anatomy, etc. And sadly, the proportions are fucked up. It looks distorted because the left is too flat compared to the right. It should be inflated instead. None of this was obvious until that dreaded mirror mode scan. The moment of the truth that usually hurt. Love it or hate it. Anyway, for fun, I decided to have a little adventure. I decided to turn to ChatGPT for advice, and let's pretend I didn't check it in mirrored mode. Something feels off perhaps, or maybe it was just me. With that said, I will ask GPT, hey, I just finished the sketch of the lunatic jack-o'-lantern dude via the iterative sketching phase in my paint, and now refining it in Krita. Here is what I got so far. It's a rough one, mind you, so nothing fancy. Before I refine and polish it, do you see any issues with the sketch in terms of proportions looking right? Maybe things could be skewed that I am not aware of? Next, I took a quick screenshot by hitting F12. And no, I'm not using the built-in snipping tool that comes with Windows 11. It's a third-party program instead called Flameshot if you are curious. A fantastic and a highly versatile open-source cross-platform app for taking screenshots and making annotations. Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to copy and paste. And let's take a look at its critique.
Looking at your lunatic jack-o'-lantern sketch, here are some points you could consider refining. 1. Head shape and expression. The exaggerated, sinister grin and sharp eyes work well with the character's chaotic personality, but the head could benefit from slight adjustments to the symmetry. The left side, from the viewer's perspective, seems a little flatter compared to the right. Subtle refinement could make the head more spherical and balanced, enhancing its dynamic expression. 2. Hands. The left hand, again from the viewer's perspective, looks a bit smaller compared to the right hand. This could be intentional to emphasize perspective, but if it's not, enlarging or adjusting its shape might help balance out the proportions. 3. Arms. The arms are quite fluid, which adds motion to the sketch. However, the right arm's gesture, reaching forward, could be exaggerated a bit more to create a stronger sense of depth. You could experiment with foreshortening to make it pop more. Number 4. Body and limbs. Since you're going for a limbless Rayman-style look, it seems intentional to have the arms floating. Just make sure to keep them proportional to each other and to the head. The right leg, towards the back, seems to be well in line with the character's dynamic pose. The left leg could be adjusted slightly to keep consistency with the same limb placement, but it's working well as is. It's looking great so far for a rough sketch. Nothing feels glaringly off. As you refine it, keeping an eye on balance and symmetry should help bring out its wild, chaotic personality.
Holy shit!
that GPT robot, which everyone loves or hates, is actually now capable of giving you feedback on the drawings, because it helps you spot problems at their early stage, which are a lot harder to fix when discovered later. As you heard, ChatGPT confirms proportion issues with the left side is the biggest problem area, which I feared when I looked at the drawing from mirrored mode. I was hoping it was just my imagination, but unfortunately it wasn't. At all rate, this robot is a total game changer, and I'm going to keep these points in mind once I work on refining the sketch. It's not a big deal at the moment, so I won't worry too much about it. The facial proportion issue is the elephant in the room here, so I will make it my priority. Let's consult it one more time, mentioning my experience with the mirrored mode. And this time I'll take out the in-between gaps to speed things up. I left the audio intact on purpose to show you the experience in real time, but now that you get the idea, it's time to speed things up a bit.
It's great that you use the mirror view to check for symmetry. Based on the screenshot, the left side of the head does look a bit flatter compared to the right, especially around the cheek and jawline area. Since the right side has a more pronounced curve and sharper details, you could balance this by rounding out the left side a little more and ensuring the jawline has a similar flow to the right side. This adjustment will help the head feel more spherical and consistent. Additionally, the mirrored perspective helps reveal that the left hand is slightly smaller, so giving it a bit more mass or slightly adjusting the fingers might bring balance between both hands. Overall, the energy and style of the character are coming through nicely. Just refining these proportional aspects will help solidify the overall sketch.
Duly noted. Let's thank GPT for taking the time to give that valuable feedback. Pro tip: if you want to get the most out of ChatGPT in your work, talk to it just like you would to a human. What's really cool about this is that AI can now fill in the gaps when you don't have someone around to give you feedback in real time. Obviously, it's not a replacement for human critique, but it's a handy tool when you are stuck or just want a second opinion on your work. With that out of the way, I went back into my sketch and made the necessary adjustments, taking its suggestion into account. Now let's share the improved result with our robot friend and see what it thinks of it now.
Your refinement looks fantastic. The head now feels much more balanced with both sides looking symmetrical. The adjustments you made to round out the left side have really improved the overall flow of the character's shape. Some thoughts on the updated design. 1. Cigar Edition. I see you've gone with the double cigar look. This really amplifies the character's chaotic and rebellious vibe. You might want to slightly shift or rotate the cigars to add a bit more perspective depth, maybe angling one of them slightly outward to make the scene even more dynamic. 2. Hands. The hands look more proportional now compared to the previous sketch. The left hand size seems better matched to the right. You could perhaps sharpen the detail on the hands as you refine further, adding more clarity to the individual fingers. 3. Head expression. The expression is coming through even more menacingly now. The sinister grin and squinting eyes work perfectly with the lunatic persona. As you refine it further, you can experiment with exaggerating certain parts of the grin or eyes to heighten the craziness, if that fits your vision. Overall, you've made significant improvements. Keep going with the refinement, and it's looking like your jack-o'-lantern character is really shaping up.
Okay, the feedback looks promising. I'm glad the wacky face looks now in order, and these tips are useful for further improvement. Overall, I genuinely believe this scenario I'm sharing with you was the perfect example of how you can harness the untapped power of AI ethically, legally, and morally in your work, how to prevent being replaced by AI, how to coexist and leverage this tool instead of seeing it as a threat. We live in a very exciting time with this AI era, despite both its good and ugly side. Yes, it's true, when using AI, you might be walking on thin ice due to licensing issues, unless you are confident the dataset you are using is licensed or has permission. It's risky. But if you are using AI ethically, mainly for brainstorming, research, and assistance, like what I did in this scenario, and not for shortcuts, it can be a real game changer. And I just showed you exactly how to do that in this video with ChatGPT 2. And I will show you exactly how to safely leverage Stable Diffusion in the same manner, step by step, in this Halloween workshop I mentioned when it's complete. That's another AI tool that is even more of a game changer. Combine these two bad boys, ChatGPT and Focus. Holy shit, that's a new superpower that will make your game go a whole lot higher. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video. You take care and happy Halloween.